This is The Truth Speaks. I'm Dylan, and I'm joined by Larry again. I'm sorry that part two took so long to come up, but I've been busy with a bunch of stuff. So, Larry, are you with us?
Yes, indeed.
And today our topic obviously is free energy, but we're going to go into some of the uses of magnetic energy. So, with that said, Larry, uh, can you start us off?
Sure. Um, Magnetic energy, in my opinion, will soon replace fossil fuels simply because through magnetic induction, you can power any coil. You can provide electricity without the need of input power simply through magnetic induction and magnetic bearings. Um, the uses for it are literally unlimited. Let's take the hydrogen, for example. Hydrogen is now being used in many parts of the world for a fuel, uh, both for heating, cooking, running vehicles, running ships, things like that. And through magnetism, you can polarize the hydrogen molecule. Normally, the hydrogen and oxygen are at 107.5 degrees, close to that, something like that, in relation to one another. And it takes quite a bit of electricity to separate it. But once you polarize that molecule and put the hydrogen at 180 degrees to the oxygen, making it a straight line, hydrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, then it separates easier. So that makes the hydrogen systems more efficient. Um, so that's one way you can do it. One use for it. Uh, Magnetic induction into any coil will produce electricity. You can have either induction coils or transformers with magnetic induction. That's all easy. Um, let's go to how about a car? Just a standard, ordinary car. Um, put Every car's got an axle, got four axles. You put a toroidal coil around each axle. You attach magnets to that axle that will spin inside that coil, transfer that power into a capacitor system so that you've got a boost charge to start your car to move. There you go. You can drive to work, plug your car in at work, power your business, drive home, plug your car into your house, power your house with it. There are just unlimited methods. Uh, Same if you put the magnets around the shaft of a propeller driven plane. Those shafts rotate. While they're rotating, they might as well be generating energy. You could have actually a plane that would run indefinitely by generating its own power and use that power through, again, a capacitor system. Same on boats. Um, with a magnetic drive generator, you can replace all of these coils with one coil that's a generator to provide the electric power. And magnetic drive generators will only stop when the magnets run down, and that's like 300 to 400 years. So it's a never-ending cycle, or at least would be never-ending in our lifetime. So let's see, what else would there be? We could put uh, we could put these generators in hospitals. They would never have to worry about their power going down. Put them in every operating room. Put these in all the police stations and fire stations and all the public service areas. Have a generator to run your city street lights. Um, The applications are really unlimited. We've got a specific style of coil that holds all of the magnetic field inside the vortex, and that would be a really good coil for MRI machines in the medical field, because an MRI machine now is like getting 120 chest x-rays, and you all know that that's not good for you. So with a coil that keeps the magnetic field inside, that would eliminate all that harmful radiation that you're getting from the magnets in the MRI. So there's a lot of different things. For instance, well, here I am stuck again, not even able to think. How about your computer? A coil that does not develop heat would be a good thing for your computer, because your computer wouldn't have to have a fan in it at that point. It's unlimited, literally unlimited. I keep going back to boats and planes and trains. Magnetic levitation trains would be an easy thing. They're becoming more and more popular as time goes on. We've got many different current applications, televisions, all your electronic equipment, power supplies of every nature, uh, home use, especially home use. Get off the grid, put a magnetic generator in your basement. There are many examples of them on the internet as well. Some of them work better than others, of course, but that's just the way that is. Um, we've got your communication equipment, such as television, radio, things like that. That's a very important thing. Um, I'm trying to find a list here. I've got a bunch of them written down. Um, name something, and I'll talk about how a coil can be used in it.
It's,
Your wheelchair.
thank you.
There you go. Your wheelchair, a magnetic drive generator that could be a 6-inch coil will put out 30 amps. We can run your chair off of that much power. It would eliminate all of the weight from both of the batteries. Are you carrying a dual battery system?
Uh,
One or two batteries?
Possibly. I think one.
One? Okay. Well, it would eliminate all that, and I'm sure it's a very big, heavy battery.
And it's a really bad battery. It has to be replaced once a year at least.
Oh, that's terrible.
We've already had to replace it twice this year.
That's not good at all. A magnetic drive generator would eliminate the need for that. There are many other things. Goodness, kidney machines, dialysis machines, all kinds of medical equipment. I'm just drawing a blank right now.
It's alright. It's alright, Larry.
There we go, some more. An electrical coil can be used to generate energy from the earth. An electrical coil can be used to make plants grow faster, make bones heal in half the time. Plants grow 3 to 7 times faster with a simple pancake coil. I I'm going to stop doing that. I'm trying to look for a file to bring up, but I can't find it. The methods of making coils vary too. You can have a toroidal coil, you can have a pancake coil, you can have a cylinder coil, which is real good for tuning. Coils are in your cell phones, coils are in your computers, coils are everywhere. Your landline telephones even have coils in it. Speakers, microphones. A speaker with these coils in it will vibrate at the frequency that you put into them, and that means that now you'll have perfect pitch. Magnetic drive generators all have to be tuned to a specific frequency in order to run 50 cycle and 60 cycle equipment. So you can tune all those to 54 cycles, which will run both 50 and 60 cycle equipment. And 54 times 8 is 432, which is in harmony again with nature. So magnetic drive systems are, I really truly believe, are the generation systems of the future.
I hope you're right, because they seem more efficient.
They are, and the fields that they put out aren't disturbing or aren't disruptive to people if you contain them properly. Some of these coils are good for pest control. They'll kill bed bugs. Some of them make good heaters. It's just a matter of how the coil is specifically designed. We've got, personally, our company has many different designs for coils that do all kinds of things, like we've just been talking about. We've got some that are specifically for power. We've got some that are specifically for medical equipment that keep all of the field in. We can make one that kills the bed bugs. It would be good for pest control companies. Things like that. There are just literally unlimited types of applications for these. Let's see, something else that they can be used in. Low voltage power supplies can be done with very, very, very small coils. A coil is used for communication, for microwave and radio communication. So everything is available there. It's just a matter of putting it to the application. We're talking with a group now that's making a flying car that's going to be totally electric. We're talking with a guy that's making a totally electric regular airplane. So it's all there. It's all available. And the magnetic drives are so much lighter than a standard coil that you would have to have. Standard coils take electricity to generate electricity and are only 60% efficient at best, or magnetic drives through the same, through a different type of a coil, a different winding style coil, it produced 10 times the amperage that a normal coil does, simply because they manipulate the magnetic fields. The solutions are there. We just have one of them, and it may or may not be the ultimate in the solution field, but we're sure trying. Right now, it's just hard to get free energy out on the market. People aren't believing in it. Governments aren't supporting it. unless it's an inefficient style of free energy. It's just, we're not doing good anymore.
Hmm.
What have you got about this? What do you think about free energy?
Certainly real. We've seen enough evidence to say that it's real, but it's just how marketable is it? Currently, it's not marketable at all.
Yeah, really, right now it's sort of being suppressed. Uh, the big money is going out to solar, which is functional, but it again takes a lot of maintenance.
Everything takes maintenance.
Most everything takes maintenance. A magnetic drive coil has 4 parts. It's wire around a plastic donut and a stationary set of magnets and a rotating set of magnets. That's it. And it lasts for 300 or 400 years.
Whoa, whoa, what's going on?
Not me.
Not me.
Excellent. We have outside influences. Wonderful.
Awesome.
That's kind of amazing. I get visits from people that I don't know a lot anyway. Other things that are available out there are magnetic water purification systems, electromagnetic ozone tubes that are both polarizing the water and purifying the water, making it healthful to drink the water now. The agriculture, the ozone tubes, the water from those makes crops go better as well. So there's just so many things that can be done with this free energy stuff. We've got, golly, sewage purification plants. Sewage can be purified with ozone through ozone tubes. Our water drinking systems. I live next to a city that literally drinks their purified water that comes out of their sewers. So it's all there. It's just a matter of using it properly. But you no longer, with ozone, you no longer have to have the detrimental chemicals in the water, the chlorine and all that stuff to pull out the killer bacteria and stuff that's in the water. Again, in businesses, every business has got to have power. Every individual has got to have power. Every vehicle has got to have power, whether it's land, sea, or air, or space. Through magnetic energy, we will someday be able to open the vortexes, the wormholes, if you will, that are in our upper atmosphere and all over the earth. And one day we'll be able to find out where they go. I'm looking forward to that. I see a lot of things happening in the near future with free energy. And it's up to us to spread that word and to talk to young people and share our ideas with young people and old people. If you can convince an old person to open his mind, you can convince 10 young people. Because young people are a little less conditioned than the older folks like me. We have been trained to hate because of color, because of race, because of religion, because they live in a different city than we do, because they like a different football team than we do. That's ridiculous. A fight about a sport? That's plumb silly. But it's all been programmed into us. We're actually robots following a preconditioning. And that preconditioning is coming from parents not being able to take responsibility for the raising of their children. They have to work. They can't help it. The system is designed to keep both parents working so that the government and the uh, uh, the powers that be can make our children think what they want them to think. Keep them hating one another so that they don't hate the corruption that is around them in the world. Steer their minds to something else, like a football game, rather than mass murders overseas or even mass murders here in the United States. It's all the conditioning that we've been going through. And it's not a good thing. The schools, I think school these days is a failure. When I was in school, we were between number 1 and number 3 in science and math for the world. And now we're way down the list.
Well, yeah, that's because of stupid uh, ideas like No Child Left Behind and zero tolerance.
I know some people that were in the No Child Left Behind program. They cannot balance their checkbook. They cannot write. I know a guy that cannot even spell his girlfriend's name.
That's sad.
That is sad. I know a girl that cannot tell what time it is unless it's a digital watch that provides the numbers for you. She can't read the hands on a clock. Now that to me is parental failure. It's not her fault. It's her fault now because she won't learn. But it was originally her parents' fault for not teaching her, and her school's fault for not teaching her. When I was in kindergarten, I remember playing with a clock that the hands moved, and that was a game. What time is it now?
Mm.
So, you know, I've got a friend who just graduated from high school who can do algebra if he has a calculator because he only knows what buttons to push on the calculator. He doesn't know how to do it with a pencil and paper. And that's sad.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, it's the extremely expected result.
Oh, yeah.
It's obvious that they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah. In school, you're taught to pass the test. The teacher gives you the answers to the test the day before, goes over them in class. The next day, you go and take the test. And after the test is over, you forget what the answers were. They don't. You don't study the material. You simply learn the answers. I'm a firm believer that you've got to have a background in things in order to be functional with them. But the way schools teach us, they leave great huge holes in that background. It's worse than Swiss cheese. I feel like I'm slighted when I eat Swiss cheese because all the holes are empty. But that's the way our educational system is. The things that they want you to know are things that keep you tied up with only limited knowledge. Like, let's take, for instance, the power company. The power company has to provide you with a specific amount of power for your needs so that the power company won't have a brownout where they don't have enough power to provide everybody. So how they figure that out is even though they bill you for your 30-day usage, they find out how much you're going to use by the highest consumption that you have in a 15-minute period during that 30 days.
Hey, Larry,
Yes?
I'm getting some not sound interference, but my Google Hangout is saying that your audio is no longer coming through.
Uh-oh.
So,
Is that better? Does that work now?
um,
Are you
I-
hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but the thing isn't, and I don't have any viewers to tell me if they can hear you. So, what I'm gonna do, can we take a 10-minute break, and I'm gonna look at this and see what I can do.
Very good. Very good.
All
Should I
right.
hang up?
No, just I'm gonna mute my mic
I'll
and
mute mine.
all right.
Okay.
We will be back in 10.
Okay.
Larry.
Yes.
Alright, give me another sound check, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 14, 76. I don't count well.
Alright, we sound good.
All right. I found that file that I was looking for. We can go into a whole bunch more stuff.
I apologize for the technical difficulties to anyone who's listening, and to you, Larry.
No problem ever. I do not work a computer very well, and I understand. Let's go back into some different things that you can do with magnetic generators, or even just a new style of a coil that'll produce more power than it takes to operate the coils. And these coils, this style coil is out there for everybody. There are many different examples of them on the internet. Some of them work well, some of them work a little bit, some of them don't work at all. You need to make your choice wisely, but try them out. Wind one, see what happens. These coils are useful in all kinds of communication equipment, from receivers to broadcasting equipment. All the cell phone people can use these things for new kinds of antennas that are not harmful to the people in the pathway of the beam. Toys, magnetic toys. What a wonderful thing magnetic toys are. Something that your kid can play with forever and not break. That'd be something nice. And also, let's talk about some of the problems with this. Electronic equipment puts out odd harmonics, which go in opposition to power flow, which we'll not get into that part. That's pretty technical. But they put out a magnetic field, is what I'm trying to say. And it's a dangerous, harmful field. The electromagnetic fields they'll cause brain damage. They cause reproductive damage. The frequency that we're putting out now, 440 hertz frequency, is what our existing power system is supplied by. That keeps you agitated all the time. It keeps your brain from being able to think clearly. It's not a good thing. 432 is the harmony of nature, is the frequency of nature. And that's what things should be tuned to, something that is in harmonious balance with 432. 432 divided by 8 again is 54. 54 will operate both 50 and 60 cycle equipment, and people will be better. But all of this bad stuff that they're putting out now can be blocked with Faraday clothing. And this bad signal that they're blocking can be used. All of that bad energy that's coming into you that's being blocked by the Faraday clothing can be used with a simple reclamation circuit. So what that means actually is that you can put your cell phone into the pocket of your shirt and it'll charge. Put Faraday cages over these harmful coils and put a reclamation circuit on that. So all the harmful energy that's being produced, you can use it as productive energy. Many ways. We've already covered the agriculture and the water purification and the sewage treatment. How about mining? With a magnetic generator to provide your power, a miner can walk into a mine with a very small backpack on, excuse me, drive an iron rod into one end of a vein of ore and go to the other end of that vein, put an electrode into it on that end, and put plasma, electrical energy, through that entire vein of ore and melt it out of the rock rather than having to dig all that rock out and crush it. But if that's the way that they want to do it, you can crush that rock, and instead of putting on in all of the harmful chemicals to dissolve and float out the impurities, you can separate every single element according to its atomic weight through magnetism. So there's another thing that magnets can be used for, magnetic energy, to end all the pollution caused by mining. Off-grid portable power supplies. Our unit that's 5 kW will be in a box that's about 3 foot cube. So, and under 100 pounds. So there you go. Pick it up, put it in your trunk, take it on vacation, go camping for the weekend. Let your children know what nature really is. Any place, any village that doesn't have power currently or has a generating system that they can only operate for a few hours a day because they can't afford the fuel. Those things, those places are prime areas for magnetic drive generators, where the power companies don't want to run power over the mountains or under the seas to get to their islands, where it's not economical to build an entire power plant for 500 people. So off-grid places in the world would greatly benefit from this if they want the power. If they don't want power, don't force it on them. Don't change people's religion or their culture or their way of life. Offer them something that they can use if they want it. Satellites. Think of a satellite that doesn't have to have all that massive weight of fuel in it just to keep it up in the air. Radar systems. All radar systems would work better with a more efficient coil. System monitoring. Electrical testing equipment all has very refined coils in it, and all of them take a power supply. These can be done with a magnetic drive little generator, a miniature generator inside the unit itself. All these things it's possible to power them without the battery systems, without plugging them into a wall. Precision test equipment is very, very sensitive to outside influences. And the digital equipment that we have now just takes a snapshot of what it's doing every few seconds or every part of a second, and then estimates what it is in between. So we're getting an average value rather than the way the analog equipment ran, with showing you exactly what it was doing at every second along the way. The precision test equipment, electric furnaces for smelting, for melting the ore. Those electric furnaces can be powered much more economically with less harmful effects to the people that are operating them.
Larry,
Sir?
Would there be any uses for magnetic energy in terms of replacing all fuel?
Oh, literally. Every type of energy that we have now that uses fossil fuel or any kind of solid fuel
can be replaced.
Can be replaced with magnetic energy. Exactly. Everything that we've got can be converted to run off of electricity, no matter what it is. And once you convert it to electricity, a magnetic drive generator will power it for 300 years. And quite frankly, if we're still using this technology in 300 years, the world has gone to the dogs. It, it, it would be ludicrous to think that this technology will still even exist 300 years from now.
What
If it,
technology? All fuel and such?
no, magnetic drive energy. If we're still using this 300 years from now, mankind has stopped, which is what we've done now. Mankind has stopped moving forward. Uh, 2,000 years ago, the Romans used steam power. They moved things with steam power. What are we doing today? Now that we're in the age of the atom and can harness an atom, what are we doing? We're making a hotter fire for steam. That's all. And it's ridiculous. It's dangerous. None of our atomic plants are even in safe locations. They're all built on a fault line. What's the thinking behind that? There's just too many ways that we're going about it the wrong way now, simply because it generates someone else a monthly income. We're held to the JP Morgan thing. It says if I can't make money from it every month, I'm not going to do it. And that's not the way it should be. Energy should be free. And with it, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have to buy it. Yes, you should have to buy the equipment, pay for the equipment, but the equipment should generate for free. It shouldn't have to be plugged in so that you're strapped down to some grid system somewhere. All the power lines going over your heads are creating harm. You can light up a fluorescent tube under a high power line. That can't be good for you. We've got to start waking up and realizing that we're hurting ourselves by following ancient technology. Wait a minute. That's not what I should say. We're hurting ourselves by following existing technology, because the ancient technology is where all of these things came from. The ancients knew how to harness the good energy from the earth. The ancients knew how to make light bulbs and light them up electrically without harming people through the natural frequencies of the earth. The ancients knew how to make transformers. I saw a Persian rug from 300 AD. Okay? 300 AD, they were still in just childhood as far as technology is concerned from what we have been taught in school. But the border of this 300 AD Persian rug had a capacitor, inductor, resistor system circuit printed in the border of it, and it repeated itself over and over, and it was wired correctly. And so they knew how to do it, but we don't give them the credit for knowing how to do it. If you look at the Mayan temple complexes from the air, and even the Egyptian complexes, if you look at them from the air, it looks exactly like a printed circuit board. And if you look at it close enough, you can even tell what those components are. So it's everywhere. It's in all of the ancient dwellings, all the ancient monolithic creations. They say that the ancients didn't know how to use hydrogen. That was one of the ways that one of the things that the Great Pyramid in Giza uses is hydrogen. The hydrogen can be used to melt granite, and that's why you see these different ancient complexes that looks like the stone was literally melted together, because it was. Levitation is a real thing. Magnetic levitation that Lee Scalnan did in Coral Gables, Coral Gardens. That's all real. It works. We know how to do it today, but it's being suppressed by the powers that be simply because they can't make money out of free energy. They can't make money if they don't have to build gigantic machines to lift these heavy things. It's all about the money. Follow the money.
It always is.
Yep.
It always is, Larry.
And it breaks my heart. Uh, Energy is free. It's in the air. I'm looking out a window right now and seeing the tree leaves moving. That's generating energy. That tree is a gigantic capacitor. The earth is a negative, the sky is the positive, and everything on earth, including us, are capacitors, holding and storing that charge. That's what our energy is. That's our personal charge. These things are available everywhere. Go to YouTube, look up something, make it. If you can't make it, buy it. If you can't buy it, at least spread the word. Tell somebody else that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the world knows something that I do not know. And I want to know it. I want to know what they know. Share your knowledge. Share it with young people. Share it with old people. Get people involved. Show somebody how to do something that you know how to do. Get somebody interested. Bring about free energy to the world because it is a real thing. And to the powers that be out there, if y'all don't get on the free energy bandwagon and get off of this fossil fuel stuff, you're going to be left behind.
That's probably the best thing that can be done.
Yep. And some of them are waking up. I have contact with some of the grandchildren of the powers that be, the Morgans and the Rothschilds and folks like that. And the grandchildren are waking up and realizing that free energy is the energy of the future, energy that's not having to be paid for over and over and always, energy that doesn't have to be maintained all the time. There's no maintenance to a magnetic drive generator when you use a magnetic bearing to produce your power. The bearing floats in a magnetic field. There's nothing to lubricate, nothing to wear out except the magnets. And again, there's 300 years. So there you go.
Yeah, and when you're doing something like this, like it or not, you have to know, you have to be in contact with the powers that be, because this is the way of the future, but without them, this will be swept under the rug again.
Absolutely. You've got to make contact with the Department of Standards, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Science and Technology.
As much as it might be horrible to have to do so, and as much as it would be against your values to do so, if this technology is to get out to the world, is there another way?
A lot of people are saying just open source everything. And that's a good idea for the people that can make milliamps. You know, open source the toys if you must, but the major power producers, the things that can be turned into military weapons, that sort of technology, I truly believe should be copyrighted and patented.
Yeah, the ability to make weapons is not something that should be allowed
Well, yeah, and
to be used by everybody.
yeah, the government's already got magnetic drive generators, magnetic drive planes, magnetic drive spacecraft. Most of the UFOs, some of the UFOs that we see in the sky are our own military aircraft. that don't get me wrong, I truly believe that we are not the only intelligent civilization in the universe. To believe that, I think, would be totally conceited on the human part.
Yeah, and
But
who's to say we're intelligent life forms? I know a lot of people who would argue.
yeah, that may be an overstatement. I'm not sure we're all that intelligent. If if we were all that intelligent, we wouldn't be fighting one another because we look different, because my hair is brown and your hair is blonde, or because my eyes are green and yours are blue. Who cares? What difference does it make? It doesn't. It doesn't make any difference at all. And fighting over a football game, how ridiculous is that?
Right? I'm with you.
Yeah. But quite literally, every application for coils today can be improved, downsized, and the weight lightened, and everything through these new style of coils. Uh, Coils these days have eddy currents in them, and they're created to be only 60% efficient because an eddy current wastes energy. It takes more amperage when you've got eddy currents. So just by that alone, the power company gets more money. So, they're just in it for the bucks. We're just in it to provide free energy for people. If you had a magnetic drive generator in every house, you wouldn't be chained to that power company. And if you were still on a grid system, you could put the excess power that you use back into the grid, which is what happens anyway, and they have to buy it. You produce anything more than you use, and they are legally obligated to buy that power from you. So there you go. There are places in the United States now that the power company is charging a penalty if you use alternative power. The cities are charging a penalty if you use alternative power and they're not on their grid system. So even though our quote government is backing this free energy stuff, they're not backing it because they're allowing others to charge you penalties for using it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's all about the money, 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 money. Everybody's got to make a living, okay? I agree with that. And I agree that some corporations are beneficial to the world. But I do not believe in 4 or 5 people in the world owning every bit of communication that there is. I
No.
think that should be stopped.
Yeah, that's completely ridiculous.
You know, it's only because of the internet that we're able to get this kind of information out. And how often have you seen your local newspaper run a free energy article? Never. Once every 30 years. Doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few magazines out there like Popular Science that tell what people are doing, but they don't have that large a following. I mean, Popular Science is a good magazine, but what have they got? 1 million people that read it? We need to get to everybody worldwide, not just a few people in a very small number of countries.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's what you're doing with your work. You're trying to get to in the Indonesian government, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're working with us real well right now. We are right on the verge of going back over there and opening our first factory now.
Fantastic.
Real pleased about that. real pleased. Um, One of our very good friends just became the president of a new hydrogen manufacturing company over there, onboard hydrogen cells. And that's just thrilling to me. They currently produce the cheapest, most efficient, simplest hydrogen producing system in the world. That's got a lot to say. That's really saying a lot for them, because there's a lot of people out there playing with it. But they can do it better than anybody else. And that's why they're so successful. Real happy for them over there. They're doing good. And the hydrogen systems, why we got involved with that, hydrogen in a vehicle will greatly reduce the emissions. Okay, so they're not polluting when they're using hydrogen. The vapor that comes out the tailpipe is water vapor. So they're producing pure water when they make hydrogen, and that's not harmful. The people that use it for cooking with hydrogen from water. Now, it doesn't sound like much to us, but someplace where they've got to buy gas so that they can cook, it's a big boon to be able to put a little bit of electricity through a piece of wire and make hydrogen. So a little bit more complicated than that, but that's basically what it is. Two dissimilar pieces of metal inside of water, or underwater, both energized, one positive and one negative, and you produce hydrogen. That's just the way it works. And with our equipment, or with any equipment polarizing the electrolyte, the water, then it separates easier and you make more hydrogen cheaper. So it's a win-win situation when it comes to hydrogen. And the gases produced are only hydrogen and oxygen. That means when they recombined, there is no harmful vapor. It's a good thing.
It sounds like it.
And these people are even putting hydrogen systems on tanker ships and great big cargo ships and fishing fleets and things like that. Diesel engines run on a third less to 50% less fuel. That means that a poor lowly fisherman can have a little bit of money left over to feed his family with. Many different ways for free energy these days. Many different ways. There are some people out there that are bilking many people out of their money with systems that do not work, claiming that if you're not an excellent engineer, electrical engineer, and not in the proper state of mind, that it won't work for you. Well,
Yeah.
state of mind doesn't have anything to do with whether or not electrical equipment works. So don't let them fool you. If somebody claims that you've got to be in a higher state of mind or a loving state of mind or anything like that for their equipment to work, that means their equipment doesn't work. I'm all for everybody being in an enlightened state of mind. Don't get me wrong about that. But there's nothing to do with my enlightened state of mind when we put the core in our magnetic drive system and it starts to spin. That is not because of my state of mind. That is because of our design and the functionality of it. So don't be fooled by people that's got a good line. And then again, experiment. If you think it works, by golly, make it. Or talk to some people that have made it and see how it works for them. Don't just accept the salesman's word for it. That used car has been driven by a little old lady only to church on Sunday once a week, and it's just good all around. You drive it off the lot and the transmission falls out. And don't take salesman's word for it. Check it out for yourself. I'm sorry to all you used car salesmen out there. I don't want to have any emails. But it's all good. There's lots of things out there that work a little bit. Make one light work. That's all. Just make one light bulb in your house turn on without having to draw power from the power company. Start one room at a time. Then when you can afford it, do another room. Eventually you'll be all the way off the grid. Learn how to make an earth battery. Learn how to make your garden grow better with a little bitty bit of copper wire and a coil. The earth provides electricity to the tune of about 2.4 volts. With that, you can do a lot of things. You can magnify that voltage through capacitor systems. You can do anything from an earth battery. There are modifications to some of the designs out there that have to be done to get large power off of them, but it's an easy thing to do. Tesla equipment works. It is equipment that in most cases, most of it takes power to generate power, but it still works, and it's a Wi-Fi type broadcasting system. You're not attached to the wires. Tesla equipment's good stuff sometimes. Some of the fields put out by certain ones of his inventions are harmful, but when you know which ones are and know how to use them properly, they're not harmful. That's why I say everybody needs a background in what they're doing in order to understand the safety factors of it. Again, free energy's out there. Just look.
It absolutely is.
You can make a heart-shaped thing with a ring at the bottom of it and put the point on the top of the battery and the bottom of the battery on a magnet, and that little heart will spin around and round and round until that battery runs down. And it'll take a long time for the battery to run down because you've got the magnet and the copper coil to assist it as it's rotating to help charge it. So there you go. There's your free energy device. It's little. It doesn't do anything but move on its own, but it moves on its own. That's free energy. A lot of fun things that you can do with it, little toys that you can make with it. Get your kids involved. Get your neighbor kids involved. Show somebody something. If you know how to run a computer, go to some old folks. Go to somebody like me that doesn't know how to do anything but turn it on. Teach them. Everybody knows something that you don't. You know something that everybody else doesn't. Help. The more we share our knowledge, our understanding of the way things work, the better off the whole world will be. Start getting our eyes opened a little bit more and realizing that they don't teach us everything there is to know in school. And some of the things they teach us in school just hold us back. Keep an open mind. If you think something will work, try it.
What's the worst that can happen?
You can find out one way that does not work. And that's not all bad. I know a lot of ways a coil won't work. I burned some up trying to find out.
I know a lot of ways a computer won't work.
Oh, I know lots and lots of ways a computer won't work, especially if I get hold of it. Yeah, it. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to try. Fear is a construct of our own minds, and we can overcome that. Just if you've got an idea, put it down on paper, look at it, show it to somebody. Say, what do you think? If somebody else has an idea and you've got some thoughts on it, say, well, what would happen if you did this to it? Or will it do that? Or, ask questions, especially question authority. But ask questions about things. Find out how they work. Tear stuff up. Take it apart. If it doesn't work anymore, take it apart and find out why not. Play with it. Maybe you can make it work. So I'm sort of an old guy, and we had sort of a little saying. It says, squeeze it out, use it up, fix it, or do without. I think that sort of mentality is wasted on today's throwaway society.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah. They've designed things to break, to wear out. And that's where magnetic drives are going to replace the wear out part. Let's see, what else? What other kind of equipment is out there? Traffic lights. Let's take traffic light, for example. Lots of traffic lights are operated by a car rolling over a coil of wire that's buried under the street. When that iron car rolls over the electrified wire, that creates a power surge, and that turns the light switch, makes that traffic light change. It triggers a timing sequence. So that's what we're doing today with it. And that when you walk into a store, the door opens for you. That's done by a pressure switch, done with magnets, done with electricity. All limit switches are magnet switches. Magnetism is a big part of our life now, but we don't use it to its full extent. Through magnetism, you can let the wire that's only currently rated for 7.5 amps draw 30 amps. And it's not because you're drawing power from the ether or some mythical force. All you're doing is magnetically allowing the wire to do everything that it can do. There's no magic to it. It's simply a matter of form, a matter of design. Once you manipulate the magnetic fields, you can do anything with them. That's what levitation is, simply a manipulation of a magnetic field. When you know the subatomic frequency of something, you can eliminate that field with other frequencies, and that thing will lose its mass and float. That's physics. That's not magic. That's physics. So, the things they're telling us that are impossible in school are only impossible because we think they are, because we've been programmed to believe that they are. If you can think about it, you can do it. Granted, we need to use more of our minds before we can do telepathy and telekinesis and things like that. But I'm a firm believer that if we ever get to use all of our mind, that sort of a power will be a common thing. My mother and I could communicate without speaking. When she wanted me to call her, I would call her without having to hear from anybody. A lot of people can do that with their parents. And that's a real thing as well. Remote healing is a real thing. Just because our American society doesn't believe in it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. There are things out there that the uneducated mind considers magic. That's only a matter of believing that it can be done to do it. The Orientals' concept of ki or chi is one of those things. That's manipulating your own personal force field. That's a very real thing.
Mm.
The Buddhist monks do that quite frequently. They are able to do things that we can't even conceive about doing over here, but it's a common thing for them.
Hey, Larry, do you wanna stop this broadcast? 'Cause I have to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wanna go back to my 2-hour shows eventually, but lately it's just been difficult.
Okay. That's fine. That's a good spot to stop.
Alright, Larry, thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you. This is The Truth Speaks, signing out.